Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a huge question really, that's been around forever. And it all kicked off with a challenge from a student to his master almost 500 years ago. So, seriously, have you ever stopped to think about where goodness actually comes from? Is it something we learn from books and rules, or is it just part of who we are? This is the exact question a student in 16th century China put to his master. And let me tell you, the answer he got, it pretty much upended centuries of tradition. And this question really creates a huge divide. I mean, it splits philosophy right down the middle. On one side, you have the idea that goodness is external, right? It's like a rule book you have to study. But on the other side, you have this totally radical idea that goodness is already inside you, part of the very nature of your mind. And that's the clash we're going to explore. All right, so let's start our story. It all begins with this student, a guy named Zhu Xi. He was a follower of the famous philosopher Wang Yangming. And from everything we know, he was a really earnest, dedicated scholar. But Zhu Xi was troubled. I mean, like any really good student, he was thinking hard. He had so much respect for his master, but he just couldn't shake this feeling that what Wang Yangming was teaching seemed to completely go against everything he'd learned. The established philosophy of the day. So what exactly was this mainstream philosophy that had Zhu Xi so twisted up? Well, it was a way of thinking that said morality comes from somewhere completely outside of you. Okay, so the big idea at the time, which came from the philosopher Zhu Xi, was that every single thing in the world, every event, every object, even every person, has its own perfect principle, its own little piece of the moral puzzle. So goodness wasn't one thing, it was this giant jigsaw puzzle with pieces scattered absolutely everywhere. And if you follow that logic, becoming a good person meant you had to investigate everything. It was this endless, almost exhausting outward search for knowledge. You can see why this would be a problem for Zhu Xi, right? It just didn't quite mesh with what his own master was telling him. So Zhu Xi does what a good student does. He goes to his master, Wang Yangming, and asks for some clarity. And the answer he gets, wow. It was so simple, yet so incredibly radical that it literally shook the foundations of Chinese philosophy. Wang Yangming's response was just a complete course correction. He basically told his student, you're looking in the wrong place the whole time. Seeking the highest good in external things is like, well, it's looking for something where it just isn't. I mean, can you just imagine being Zhu Xi right then? Your entire worldview, your whole understanding of how to be a good person, it's just been flipped completely upside down by the person you trust most. What a moment. Absolutely stunning. And totally pivotal. Okay, so if goodness isn't out there in the world in things or rules, then where the heck is it? This is the moment where Wang Yangming drops his biggest, most revolutionary idea. Wang Yangming says it plain and simple. The highest good, or Zhi Shan, is the mind's original substance, 心之本体. It's not something you have to go out and get. It's not something you acquire. It's what you already fundamentally are. Now, this idea, it just completely redefines what the mind even is. It's not some blank slate waiting to be written on. No. It's originally pure, perfect, and all-knowing. So the problem isn't that we're broken or flawed from the start. The problem is that all that original goodness gets covered up, clouded by selfish thoughts and desires. Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine your mind is a perfect, brilliant jewel. It's already flawless. So your job isn't to go on a quest to find a jewel. No, the real work is just to wipe away the dust, all those selfish thoughts and attachments, so that its natural brilliance can just shine right through. Right. But hold on. This leads to a really important question, doesn't it? If the highest good is already inside us, does that mean we're supposed to just, become hermits? Sit around and ignore the world? Just meditate all day? Is this whole philosophy just an excuse for passive navel-gazing? And Wang Yangming's answer to that is a very clear no, absolutely not. In fact, he'd say that's the biggest misunderstanding of his work.
He was super clear on this. The work of polishing that inner jewel is never separate from how you act in the real world. Actually, one fuels the other. So the path of action is really more like a loop, you see? Step 1, you look inward. You reconnect with your mind's innate goodness. Then, step 2, you act outward, in your job, with your family, whatever it is. But you do it from that place of inner clarity. And here's the cool part. Your actions in the world become the very thing you use to keep polishing that inner jewel. All right, so let's bring this home. Why on earth does a 500-year-old debate from China matter to us today? Well, because it can fundamentally change how we approach our own lives, right here, right now.
What this philosophy does is it shifts our entire focus. It pushes us to stop asking, okay, what are the rules I have to follow? And instead start asking, who am I really? And how can I act from that authentic, clear-minded place? All of a sudden, goodness isn't a checklist of things to do. It becomes a way of being. And this brings Wang Yangming's ancient teaching right into your lap. If your mind really is like a perfect, brilliant jewel, what's stopping you from seeing it shine right now? This whole philosophy suggests that everything you need for a good life is already inside you. The only real challenge is clearing away the dust. So the final question is, what's your dust?